Hello, everyone. This is Sean Smith, and you are tuned in to the Country Fried Outdoors Chasing Your Experience podcast. The podcast that will connect you to resources regionally and nationwide to engage them and you in open, honest discussions so that we can inspire the growth that you need to chase the experience you want. So strap yourself in because here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Country Fried Outdoors Chasing Your Experience podcast. I've got to tell you, today is a very, very special episode because sitting across from me in the studio is my youngest son, Khreston, who just recently decided that he wanted to go deer hunting with a gun. He has been not wanting to go hunting for a while, and then all of a sudden now he's interested. And as a father, I am uber excited for that. So Khreston, say hello to everybody.
Yo, what's up?
What's up? So, I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions to kind of help you through this and just be honest with your answers and stuff as we go through this. So, now this actually technically wasn't your first time hunting, right?
No.
So we went out with a bow before, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
I shot the deer. We trailed it, but it got away and we didn't ever find if it died or not.
Yeah. And that's an unfortunate thing when it comes to hunting. Like it does happen. Now you were using a crossbow?
Yeah.
Yeah. So technically wasn't your first hunt, but spoiler alert, it was your first deer though, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, I there for a while, like I kept asking you if you wanted to go hunting with me and you didn't want to, I guess, why was that?
I just didn't want to go outside.
You just didn't want to go outside. So tell me, your normal day is, what is your normal day? What do you do?
I'll wake up. Most of the time, it's rather I wake up, brush my teeth, and get on the games. Or I'll get on for the games for like 30 minutes and then go brush my teeth. But then I'll be on the games for about the rest of the day. So
you're a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
So before we dive in too much on the whole hunting, what are some of your favorite games?
There's Daisy. It's a zombie apocalypse survival game, free roam, about a really big map. I think it's about 180 something square centimeters of land or something like that, or kilometers, not centimeters. There's Red Dead Redemption 2. It's a story mode and online playing game, free roam. I think that was the reason I started to get into hunting, was because like the majority of the game when I was playing it, I was hunting animals.
What was that? A Red Dead 2?
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 2 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm not up to date with the name of the games. Pretty much since he's been old enough to play video games, or actually since we moved into the house here several years ago, he took over my PlayStation.
Yep.
So I haven't been able to play what I've wanted to play for a very long time now. And I kind of got away from it anyways. But anyways, so yeah, most of your day is consumed. If it's not school, it's video games.
Yep.
So do I really have to thank Red Dead Redemption 2 to inspire you to go hunting?
Maybe Daisy too. I like hunting that.
So now you got a couple friends that hunt too, right?
Yeah.
At least one that we know of, right?
Mm.
And so has he been any influence in you to go hunting?
Kind of, yeah. I thought about seeing if we could get him to go hunting with us next year or something.
Yeah, you did kind of mention that to me this time around, and we're really kind of late in the game. And to be honest with you, by the time you had told me you wanted to go hunting,
it was a little bit too late.
It was definitely late in the game, especially for gun season, because you wanted to go with a gun, right?
Yeah.
You have no interest in the bow, do you?
Mm.
Not right now, right?
Kind of, but this.
You like guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like to shoot guns, and I get that. When I started hunting, that's what I started hunting with, was a gun. I didn't get into bow hunting till like later in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing wrong with that, and I really haven't gun hunted. It's been a while since I've actually been out with a gun, and so thank you. You kind of inspired me to want to go back out with a gun too. So it's kind of twofold here, but I got to tell you, as a father. I am super proud and super happy that you decided to, that you wanted to come back out and give it a try. So, so tell me, how long actually have you been wanting to go hunting? You just haven't told me yet.
That's a good question. Maybe I'd say maybe a couple months, maybe a year or so.
A couple months or a year?
Yeah.
Why didn't you say anything?
Just didn't want to.
No, wait a minute. You just said you've been wanting to, but you
I just didn't want to say anything. I'm like, okay. It's like, he doesn't gun hunt. Maybe he won't take me out, but changed.
No, come on now. Come on. You're my boo-boo. You know dang well if you came up to me and said you wanted to go gun hunting, there's nothing that's going to stop us besides it not being gun season of us going gun hunting. So kind of funny story here is that you decided to hold off until after gun season was done, like the original first week of gun season, to tell me that you wanted to go out with a gun.
Yeah.
So luckily, Ohio has an extended gun season, which is a weekend in December, which we just finished.
Yep.
Today was the last day of it. And so you told me, and I'm like, well, so I know that with you playing Red Dead Redemption 2, you kind of like the old cowboy style guns, right?
Yeah.
So we came across a straight wall cartridge rifle that is new cartridge for since 2022. And that is it's a cartridge that was created by Remington in conjunction with Henry, which is the 360 Buckhammer. And Henry obviously is known for their lever action rifles, and so we may or may not have acquired one. Right?
Yep.
So what did you think of the rifle?
I love it.
What do you like about it?
I like lever actions. They look cool. They got they work in a cool way.
Right. So I wanted to get something that was not going to be as hard hitting as a 12 gauge. Because a 12 gauge slug, to a new hunter, like if you're not really used to it, has a little bit of a kick. What did you think of the kick or the recoil from the 360 Buckhammer?
I honestly didn't think it was that bad. In the videos, I haven't shot a gun in a while, so I just kind of wasn't really prepared for it.
Right. So we had a week to get you prepared, right?
Yeah.
A little bit under a week, right?
Yeah.
So we originally went out. Sorry, I kind of hit my mic cable. Anyways, so we originally went out and got the gun sighted in, right? I fired a couple groups to make sure we got dialed in, and then we started to let you shoot. So from that first shot, what did you think?
I like the gun.
When you first saw the gun, like you fell in love with it. You're like,
oh yeah.
You're like, so like, what did you tell me?
I actually don't remember every word I said.
Well, what do you remember?
I remember shooting it.
I remember shooting it. It was when you first seen the gun. What did you think?
I thought of Red Dead Redemption 2, to be honest.
It's like, this is just like Red Dead. All right, so we got the old Buckhammer. We went out and we got sighted in, and we got starting to shoot groups. Which you got I think by next season, right? We'll definitely have it dialed in.
Oh yeah,
like not like listen, you did a great job as it was, right? We got you shooting. You've been out shooting before, so it wasn't like totally 100% new to you, but. All right, sorry everyone. We had to deal with some of the dogs. They were in the room with us, and they started acting fools. So we had to hit pause and then come back to this. So, anyways, we were probably discussing. I think if I remember correctly, we were kind of discussing what your first thoughts were with the rifle as soon as you seen it.
Mm-hmm. It was, I liked it. I liked how it looked. I liked the way they used the wood on it and stuff, like the colors of it, the varnish. I thought it was pretty cool. I didn't think you'd buy one, but
so let me ask you that. So was it heavy for you or?
No, it wasn't heavy at all.
It's actually a really well built rifle.
Yeah.
I like that rifle a lot. So yeah, it's about 20-inch barrel. It's not overly heavy. It's a lever action straight wall cartridge, which in Ohio, if you're going to use a rifle, it has to be straight wall cartridge. It cannot be a it can't be a neck down or a shouldered rifle, like your 7mm 223 stuff like that. So it absolutely has to be a straight wall cartridge. There's varying opinions when it comes to that, but I'm at the point now. I'm like, it used to be just shotguns. You had 12 gauge, you had your slugs, and just one ball of buckshot. So, you know what, you got to take what you get.
Yeah.
All right, so we get you out. We're shooting this gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how comfortable were you by the time we were done? So we did a couple sessions, right?
Mm-hmm. I felt pretty comfortable. I felt like I'd probably hit something,
And I seem to remember that you and I had a little competition there at the end of the last day, right?
Oh yeah, I missed miserably.
Yeah, what happened?
I didn't see it.
All right, what you don't know is Khreston needs glasses, and we went to see the eye doctor. And unfortunately, his glasses wouldn't make it in time for deer season. But he had a pair at one time, but he let the dog chew up. So, but anyways, that's going to be his excuse, and you're going to hear that excuse come up quite a bit over the next at least half hour that we're talking. Over several deer that he didn't see. But we'll come back to that. So yeah. Anyways, Khreston lost his old man. We did a competition. It was about a 100-yard shot, and there was about I don't know if it was actually 6-inch circle. I think it was more like a 4.5, maybe 5, right? And in the middle was a red diamond, or orange diamond was in the center of it. And we're at 100 yards shooting it. And now, if you listen to the ballistics that was listed for the 360 Buckhammer with that gun, we're shooting a 200 grain bullet is the round I end up going with. According to the ballistics, they were saying is if you sighted in for 150 yards, would put you at 2 inches high at 100, which we sighted in for about 2 inches high at 100. And it would hit dead on at 150. Obviously, that's your zero. Mm-hmm. And it would be 4 inches low at 200. So we're shooting at 100 yards. So this thing should be about 2 inches high at 100 yards, right? Mm-hmm. So Khreston fires his first round, and where'd you impact, Khreston?
I think it was rather above or to the right of the target, almost.
Yeah, you're a little high left. Yeah. When I say a little high, I mean you were high and just a little left.
Yeah.
So then it was my turn. We should have put some money down on this, or we should have done, maybe someone to wash the dishes or cook dinner or something. I don't know. We should have bet something because I ended up winning because I actually put one in the circle. I didn't get close. I didn't get as close to the diamonds as I was hoping I would, but you know what? I'll take it.
Better than me.
What's that?
Better than what I did.
You'll get there. You'll get there. But I think there's a couple things we can do to that gun yet, because I did put a scope on it. It's a 1x4 powered scope, more like a scout scope, because that's not meant for distance.
Yeah.
Got a rifle, 200 yards. Where we hunt here in Ohio, if you get a 200-yard shot, you're lucky. You got a field and you're hunting on a field or something. Well, it doesn't happen very often. The reason I wanted to go with the lever action too versus a bolt action like the 350 Legend or the 450 Legend is just for that fact right there. It's like we don't have a lot of distance shots where I hunt, like 100 yards, 150 maybe, but you're going to be in a lot of thick brush. So I want something that's going to be quick and easy to use in the brush. And so that's why I went that route. Plus, it's a Red Dead gun. And so anyways, I ended up winning that competition, and but one of the things, like I said, we started talking about things we want to do that rifle. I want to get a cheek riser to put on that.
Yeah.
And what that's going to do is give you a better cheek weld, since that stock is really set for the iron sights, which does not protrude very high off of that off that gun. The scope definitely sits up a little bit higher.
Yeah, definitely.
So I noticed that you were having a little bit of issue with cheek weld, which for the distance that I knew you'd be shooting, which would probably be about anywhere between 25 to 50, maybe 60 yards. I didn't think it was going to be a problem. And I was right. It wasn't a problem, but I don't want to skip too far ahead.
Popped.
I don't want to skip too far ahead. Anyways, so I want to get a cheek riser on it. And so you and I had to sit down and kind of pick out the one we want to put on there, right?
Yeah.
There's a couple different versions. I found some leather ones, which I think will help keep the aesthetics of the gun, which I think you'll like those, right?
Yeah.
Because you'll like to keep it like that Red Dead Redemption style kind of look to it. So
old 1800s type style. Looks awesome.
So I think you'll like it. The one we end up going with. So probably sometime, probably not tonight, but we'll definitely take a look at it.
Yeah.
And go from there. So we do 2 shoots, and then all of a sudden it's Saturday morning, right? It's go time. So I come in, wake you up, you get dressed, right? And we head out. What's your thoughts? Like, tell me, like, you're on your way to go on your first gun hunt for deer. Did you have a lot of high hopes?
I honestly didn't think we'd see as many deer as what we did, to be honest, considering it was like all way through gun season. So
we kind of exceeded your expectations right out the gate, right?
Oh yeah.
So quick, not to breeze through the story too much, but we first pull into the property, right? And as soon as we get there, what do we see?
2 deer.
There's 2 bucks, right?
Yep.
Little bucks, like, well,
yeah,
about 1-year-old deer, right? So not like some uber monster giant that came running across, but 2 bucks would have been great first deer, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they're not on the property. Like, there's a shared access driveway that we have to cross another property to get into the property that we hunt, and they weren't on our actual huntable property.
Yeah.
So there was a chance that we probably would have seen them the way they were going, that once we got ready to go and walking, we may have come across them, which I think we did. But I think
with those 12 deer we seen running up,
they heard us coming and took off. And but we got dressed, went over the top of the hill, and we're making our way back to a site that I had set up using a true stump feeder, which if you've not seen those or used one of those before, I really recommend you guys take a look at those. It's a easy for me to say. It is a roller molded, like your kayaks are, plastic that is in the shape of a tree trunk. It looks like a tree trunk. You fill it with corn. It holds about 200 pounds of corn, and it's a gravity fed. So it's, free choice. Deer can eat as much as they want when they get there to it, but, or other animals as well. But it looks like a tree stump. And I love this thing, and it's built like a tank. I've got 2 of them that's been in use for, several years now, and the squirrels haven't destroyed them, which that's one of the big things we deal with, the squirrels chewing up the plastics and stuff. The only thing that's really happened to them is that a couple of the critter guards got bent, and that's because the deer got mad at me because they got empty and they kicked it down the hill. So that was a couple seasons ago. But anyways, we're on our way back to that site. So we're walking this 4-layer trail, and all of a sudden, like, it's like the floodgates opened up, and there are deer
everywhere,
right?
Yeah.
Now, they're coming from on top of ridge down to us, or at least on top of ridge. I seen a doe that had made her way all the way down the ridge and was probably, if she was 50 yards from us, I would be surprised. Like, I think she was a little bit closer than 50 yards. I seen where she was, right? And
I seen her when she started running from the tree, but other than that, no, I didn't see it at all.
You did not see this deer at all. And I'm trying to explain to you, and to be fair to you, like, if you didn't see where she stopped, you would have had a hard time seeing it, because deer, when they hold still, are hard to see in the woods, right? Although they're not like uber camouflage. Like, we go out, we buy all this fancy camouflage to hide from the deer. Deer are like 2 colors.
Yeah.
Brown. Well, I'll give you 3. Brown with a little bit of black and a little bit of white, right? Mm-hmm. And whatever that color combination is, they can hide, right? If you don't see them,
if you don't see them right when they get to that spot, you probably won't see them.
It's hard to see them. Like, it's easy to look past them just the way they blend in. And that's what was happening here. Is like, she stopped, and I knew where she was, and I'd seen her tail flick a couple times. I was trying to get your attention to just look for movement, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a mistake that some people make, is that they try to look for deer. Don't look for deer, look for movement, right? because like you learn, like you've seen, if you're looking for deer, they blend in, even though that they're, they're not all uber camouflage or anything. They blend in. They're hard to see. And so I'm trying to direct you to where she's at, right? And you are trying to look through the scope. And you tell me what's going through your mind. What's happening?
I was honestly, so I probably looked at it maybe 20 times. I mean, because I was sitting there, I was thinking it was like there was this tiny tree, not just right there in the middle, almost all of it. It was kind of clear opening with just that one tree and a little bit of brush around it. And I was thinking it was probably down there because that's towards the direction you were pointing. And I'm sitting there looking, I'm readjusting the scope and everything. I'm like, man, how else I see it? I don't see nothing down there. And then after a second, it gets up, starts running, and then it was gone.
Yeah, she took off running from us, and that area it's pretty thick. The direction she went, and I know that's a pretty powerful gun, but one, I didn't want you to shoot while she's moving.
Yeah.
Right. And also I didn't want you to try to shoot through all that thick stuff. Right.
Yeah.
So she never released. I think she stopped like once, but it was way thick, and then she didn't stay very long after she had stopped. She had took off. I tried to stop her several times. I yelled, whistled, meh. I did everything I could to get her to stop, but she wasn't having it.
Not at all.
Yeah, but that was like a whole herd of deer. Like,
oh yeah. There was even more. Like when she was gone, there was more right up there on the top of that ridge there. Yeah.
So, backstory to this is I know there's the true stump. I've got at least 7 to 10 deer that's coming to it, and then I have a feeder down in another field with a blind sitting on it, which is where we actually went in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I've got another 7 to 10 deer coming to it. Right. So I know there's a bit of deer in here. Yeah. And but yeah, there was 10, 12 deer and they weren't walking, they were running. So that tells me that somebody on the neighboring property was out hunting that day too.
Yeah.
And had, I don't know if they purposely had pushed them or if they inadvertently pushed them when they were trying to get to their spot.
Yeah.
But they were not walking, and they were running, which that's the thing with gun season in Ohio. And I think it's a gun season with about anywhere you go is that, that's pretty much what deer are doing is running. Is running. So we get up to that so after that excitement, right, we get up to that first sit. How long did it take for you to kind of get comfortable there where we were at?
When I first sat down, I was pretty fine. And then, I started getting tired and whatever. So I started moving around and such to keep myself awake.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, and to the dads out there, listen, I've been there in that situation before. We try to keep it as serious as possible. Like, don't move. You can't move. Listen, just listen, you're out there with your kids, have fun. Right. Because in the end, it's going to work out. It's going to work out. Don't be over because eventually they'll get to the point where they'll be, to where you have the patience that you think they should have. Don't throw that on them right out the gate. Like let them have fun. Keep this fun for them. Right. Did I push you too hard?
No,
I didn't think so. I think the only thing, and the only thing that I was very, very, very strict about was the gun and where you were pointing it at. Right.
Yeah.
Right. That was the only real thing I was uberly strict about. Right.
Yeah.
Which hopefully you understand.
Yeah.
Why I was right. Okay. So I appreciate the fact you understanding kind of the purpose behind that and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So we're at that first spot. Do we see anything that after that first 12?
No. Stump. Nope. Not at all. We did hear gunshots, but
yeah, you were kind of excited because you're hearing these gunshots. Like, man, it's a lot of gunshots. And I told you after that, I said, buddy, this is nothing compared to what gun season used to be. Like it used to sound like World War III was kicking off in Ohio when gun season was in. There was several shots. Like, if 10, I think is a high number. Like I'm like too high. I think maybe we heard anywhere between 5 and 7 shots.
Yeah.
And the closest I think any of them was maybe 2 properties away.
Yeah.
None of them seemed to be right in our back door or right in our backyard. Like they were all about a couple properties away from us.
Yeah.
Which is fine. So about 10:30 rolled around and, I knew scheduling wise is that the deer were usually in there by then. If they weren't there, they weren't coming in until later on. So we made the decision to go ahead and pack up and head back in for lunch. We grabbed some of the golden arches. I know some of you parents are out there cringing because, oh, you're feeding your kid trash. Listen, it's the golden arches. You ate it too as a kid. I don't want to hear it. So we got that, and we got a power nap in, or at least I did.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then we decided we were going to go back out around 3 o'clock. Right. So, I don't think this is a bit of a shock, but what did you do in the downtime?
Played games.
See, it's like he came back and did exactly what he wanted to do. He's playing his game. So what'd you play?
Daisy.
Back to Daisy again, huh?
Yep.
All right. So we got him hooked up, and we decided we got there a little bit after 3. Like I wanted to be back there by 3, but I think it was a little after 3 by the time we got back out there, right? And so we're gonna make our way over to a ground blind. And this ground blind sits by an old camper. It's there, and then there's probably about 25, 30 yards from the ground blind, there's a feeder, right? A moultrie feeder. So tell me, what do you think?
I liked the blind. I liked where it was. It was a cool, I liked how the whole thing it had that see-through net.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I really like those. Like, those are kind of a newer thing.
Yeah.
To the ground blind world, because I think you've sat in some ground blinds before, right?
I didn't think the whole thing was. I thought just where those windows were see-through, but no, it was the whole blind.
Yeah, like the there's 2 walls. It's like 180 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
That is a see-through mesh.
Yeah. So cool.
You can see out of it.
Oh yeah.
But you can't see. But they can't see in, right?
Nope, not at all.
Now, I don't recommend shooting through that mesh. So there are windows, and we open those windows up to shoot through, right? All right, so we got you in that blind, got you all situated. You took another power nap while we were there, right? And we wasn't there very long.
No, not at all. No, it was maybe like an hour, 30 minutes ish,
if that, right? Because it was close to 4:30. A little bit before that, and I kind of tapped you. I said, I think I hear a deer.
I thought, it was up. I thought it was up to my left. I was hearing something.
And you probably was, like, this time of year is kind of hard, like, because all the leaves are down. It's a little crunchy, squirrels, have a great knack of sounding like deer.
Oh yeah.
But eventually, once you start hunting enough, you're going to pick up on that pattern, because there's a pattern that you'll hear that deer make when they walk.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I was hearing. I'm like, oh, there's a deer. There's a deer walking around here somewhere.
Yeah.
And once again, I seen the deer when it was still in the woods. I said, hey, there's a deer right over there.
And I'm like, what? Where?
And you're like looking, like, I don't see it. I'm like, he's like right there.
It's like, man, I don't see it. And
he's
then,
like, I still don't see
it. The second it got out of that brush there, I'm like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. It was a 1-year-old 6-pointer, and once he got out in the field, man, he was moving.
Oh yeah.
Like he was on a mission. He was coming to the corn, right?
He's like, yeah, I'm hungry. He's like, I'm ready to eat.
And I don't know if he knew that blind was there beforehand, because I don't think I've got pictures of him, but where the camera sits, it's kind of hard for me to see exactly the detail of his antlers anyways. But but he would stop and he would look at us or look at the blind.
Yeah.
And he'd go back to, working his way in. Because this happened fast.
Oh yeah.
What do you think?
He got shot.
Well, I know that, but it all went down pretty fast, didn't it?
Oh yeah. He walked in, had his head on the floor like the second he got in, then he looked up, walked. It took him about 3 stops. On that 3rd stop, the second he was done moving, boom.
Kapow. Well, what happened?
He fell to the floor. I looked at you. I'm like, yo, do I shoot him again? And then he got up and ran off. So we waited maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes ish, and we got situated. He grabbed the camera. We went up to go find him, and he was maybe 30, 50 yards out from us from where I originally shot him from.
Ooh, you're a little conservative there. I think he went a little bit further than 30, 50 yards. He was close, about 75 to 100
75.
yards.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, by the time he had actually got done running. So what did you think when you shot and he hit the ground?
I was honestly thinking to shoot him again. First thing I thought was just make sure he stops moving. I didn't think they'd fall like that, though. Like, just, kind of fall, because I didn't think he'd get up, but...
Well, I'll tell you what, that Buckhammer...
dude, he fell. Like, the second
hammer.
It hit, he absolutely just... right leg just went down.
Yeah, he literally hit the ground, and I thought he was done. I thought he was done right there. but before I got a chance to even respond back to you, because I'm trying to run the camera, watch you, watch the deer, try to, you know, I got a lot of multitasking I got going on right now, right?
Yeah.
And but by the time you finished asking me the question, I was processing what you had said. Like you said, he got up and took off running again.
Yeah.
So we went back and we watched the video on the camera.
Yeah.
Right. And what'd you think of your shot?
Oh, dude, I honestly thought it was a good shot where I hit.
Was it exactly where you were aiming?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I mean, it was a money hit. Like I knew that deer was going to die. So we, like Khreston said, we gave him a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And we went down and we found, and you actually did a really good job. I was like proud of you of the fact that, that you went right down to where he was. And I gotta say, I myself have trouble finding spots where I actually shot the deer. Right. And I've been doing this for a long time. I have a problem doing that. You went right to it.
Yeah.
And you're looking, you're like, oh, it had to be here because look at the disturbance in the ground, right?
Yeah.
You see where the ground was flattened out, where he
sat there rolling around.
He laid there, was rolling around a little bit, and we confirmed that because we found what
hair. There's hair right there in the floor.
Yep, absolutely, right there on the ground. There was some hair right in the middle of that flat spot where he hit the dirt, and then we started following blood.
Yep.
Right. And so, what did you think of the blood trailing?
I honestly didn't think he'd die. I didn't see much at all. So I mean, I was surprised. And then when we got up a little bit farther through the trail, he found a blood fragment in the brush a little bit. I mean, not a blood fragment, a bone fragment.
Yeah, it's like it looked like a splinter. And the only reason I noticed, so I seen a little bit of blood, and then this thing, I seen
like a chunk
of like red and then white. You know, it was a bone. I couldn't tell you what bone it was. Had it been the shoulder, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I shot him. So.
It had to been a piece of the shoulder. I'm like, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, I've been hunting a while. I've never actually come across a full, you know, piece of bone like that before. And when I say full, it looked like a splinter, right? It was about 3 inches long and it almost looks like an old time like toothpick that somebody whittled, right?
Yeah.
Is what it looked like. It was kind of cool. So we continued to track, and like you said, like the blood was a little sparse. Which I get that, you know, you'll run across that, but you did a good job following tracks and the blood. And then eventually we just got to the point where it just kind of was like, because we had lost blood a little bit and we were trying to figure out which way he had gone.
Yeah.
But from the last spot we had blood, probably about 30 yards from that, he was laying dead.
Yep.
Who found him first?
You.
I did, right?
Yeah. I was, so when you were, voice crack, when you were saying,
puberty, man, gotta love it.
When you were saying he was out there, I was looking and I seen this white spot, but you know, my eyes not, you know, working properly. I thought it was a rock. I didn't think it was actually the deer or like some piece of tree. And I was walking towards the one thing that I thought it was, and there it was right there, laying on the floor. I'm like, oh shoot.
Yeah, listen, you're glossing over this because we spent at least a minute me trying to explain to you where this deer was. Like, follow my hand, he's right there.
Like, I'm like, it's like I can't.
He's like,
I
can't see it. It's like, I'm blind. I can't see it. So eventually I said, you know what? Just walk to where you think you should go. So you started walking. I said, all right, to your left a little bit. And then you practically tripped on this deer before you actually seen it.
Yeah.
So anyways, we'll get past that. I'll give you a pass on that. Tell me, your first deer is now laying in front of you. What are you feeling?
Excited.
Feeling excited?
I mean, I looked at it. I'm like, I honestly didn't think I'd kill it. I mean, I seen the spot where it hit, and I honestly, you know, I haven't hunted before, so I didn't really know if that would be a kill shot or not. But I mean, I guess it was.
Yeah, because he didn't go far.
No,
like, you know, even grand scheme of thing, he really didn't go far. Like 100 yards. Okay, maybe 70 yards tops, right? 70, 100, maybe 70, 100 yards, right? He didn't go like extremely far, but he did get away from us a little bit. But there he is. He's laying there, and I gotta say, I'm excited. I don't know if I'm more excited than you are, but I was definitely very excited from the time that you pulled the trigger and I seen him drop. I mean, after watching the video, I know like this is a dead deer, right? We're gonna find this deer. So I'm uber excited for you. I'm even more excited and more proud once we do find it, and you know, and you find him. as you walk up on him, I kind of tell you to do something. What was it? You remember?
Oh yeah, you told me to check if he was alive or not.
Yeah. How did I tell you to do that?
Poke him in the eye.
You know why? Do you know why I tell you to do that?
Because he'd blink.
Yeah. It's the one thing, like, you might not see them breathing, but it's the one thing, like, if I go to poke you in the eye, you're going to blink.
Yeah.
Right? Regardless.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with deer. Like, if it's still conscious or maybe even unconscious, that's still a part of the body that's going to react.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that he's like dead.
Yeah.
And that's the one way to tell.
As if they blink, and he did not.
Yeah. So people will kick him, they'll go up and nudge him to see if that is. Sometimes the best true way of doing it is just, and I'm not saying poke his eye out and say, go up there and just touch the eye.
Yeah.
Right? If it blinks, it's not dead yet. Right. But if it just sits there as he was, he's already passed. Right.
Yep.
And so that's what you found is he already passed. Right.
Yeah.
So here he is, you're excited, your first deer, your first rifle hunt. And I gotta say, you're kind of following my footsteps because my first gun hunt, I shot my first deer, right?
Yeah.
Now I will say your first deer was better than my first deer. My first deer, and when I say that, guys, don't get it twisted. Like, I shot a button buck, you shot a 6-point, right? So yours was a little bit bigger. Each is equally as important or equally as valuable as the other. It's just, I'm just talking, right? Don't get it twisted, right? So don't think that I'm a big buck hunter and this and that, and you need to shoot big deer. And no, shoot the deer that you're happy with. And I was very happy with that button buck, and you were very happy with that 6-point that you shot. And I don't know if I was more happy for you than you were for yourself, but I know for one thing, we were both ecstatic. So, one thing going into this that your mom made me promise was that I was to make you, or not make you, but I was to have you gut the deer, right? That's the one thing that she wanted to make sure you did, right?
Yeah.
And guess what? Guess what Khreston did?
Gutted it.
He gutted the deer, right?
Yep.
So tell me about that. What did you think about that whole process?
I didn't know what to do, but I did it. It was
well, I know you don't know, but who was there to help you?
You.
Who was there to tell you the guide you?
And I think that's
process,
the only reason
right?
I was even able to get through is because you were there telling me, hey, you want to cut this and cut that.
Yeah, well, everyone has to have a mentor, right?
Yeah.
So let's say someone else is getting into this, right? And they're in your shoes, and they're going out with their father. They're going out with their, whoever that's taking them out hunting for the first time, right? And it's their job to clean their own deer, right?
Yeah.
Is it something to be afraid of?
I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, it was a little bit weird, when you had to take the first thing you need to do is you need to take out what is it called? You stick the plug in and then you twist it and pull. I don't.
All right. So what he's talking about is the HS Strutter or the HS or Hunter Specialties butt out tool. So I don't want to get too graphic about it, but basically it's the thing to help you remove the lower intestine and from the rectum, which technically you would have to cut around to, from the outside to do. This tool makes it a little bit easier, right?
Yeah.
A lot easier,
and
a lot cleaner compared to that. So, but that was probably the weirdest thing he had to do.
Yeah.
Was that. So might as well start him off with the hardest thing to do. And that was that, or at least the weirdest thing to do.
I think that was probably the hardest part. Was just it's I don't know, man.
I don't know about all this. I feel like I'm violating this poor deer.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's a couple of my friends that still make fun of me because of that tool.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, it makes this a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah, it really did make it a lot easier.
Yeah. Because by the time you started pulling, on the entrails and stuff, like we got to the end of the large intestine, you could see where we had tied it off at and it popped out. So that saved you a lot of headaches down the road.
Yeah.
By doing it that way. So whoever invented that was a genius, by the way. I wish it was me because I'd be rich by now. But anyways, so you get in there and like I was trying to get to though, because a lot of people that might be a contention point. Was it as gross as you thought it was going to be?
No,
it wasn't that bad.
No.
Right? And really, honestly, like you learn a lot from gutting an animal, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like an autopsy, or kind of like, you know, a dissection, not as in depth, but you know, you kind of learn some things, right?
Yeah.
So what were some things that you learned about deer anatomy just from that process?
Well, you gotta, to get to the heart and whatever, you just gotta go right up towards where the top of the rib cage is almost.
Mm-hmm.
They I don't know. I mean, I didn't, it's pretty interesting how it's set up and stuff. You pointed out when I got the lungs out, because I was looking at it, I'm like, hey, these lungs are cut, and you're like, yeah, that's from the bullet, because there was bruising and a tear on the lungs that you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, huh, that's what that is. And I mean, it was interesting, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to put it. I think Yankee did a really good job kind of explaining it. And, that's something that maybe a lot of people should do, or some people should do, is actually when you're gutting your animals, kind of look to see the trail or the path of what your weapon of choice was, right? Whether it's a bow or rifle, and see what took place, right?
Mm-hmm.
A bow, they kill because of causing lacerations, and by the lacerations cause a loss of blood, right?
Yeah.
So basically things bleed out.
Yeah.
Guns, they do cause some lacerations or tearing, but a lot of the damage that they cause is because of the energy transfer into the animal. And it's not necessarily the initial push, right? If you think of it in your head, like when a bullet hits, it hits all the soft tissues on the inside. It's going to, not only does it create a cavity, right? So everything kind of gets pushed out of the way.
Yeah.
But that stuff also has to come back in and fill that void again, right?
Yeah.
So not only is it the push, but it's the collapse back in that causes damage.
Yeah.
So that energy has to go somewhere, right? That bullet's losing energy when it impacts, and it goes somewhere, and what it is transferred into the soft tissues, right? So that's what you see in that bruising, but you can also see the path of the bullet where it goes, because it'll cause those lacerations, or they'll cause whatever. I don't know what the actual term would be. It's not technically a laceration, but you get the idea of what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Where the bullet actually traveled through. Yeah. I guess you could say laceration, because if the bullet does kind of like split apart, you'll also get fragments that will cause lacerations and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Well, let's not get too worried about terminology, right? So you learned a little bit nerd, he said. You learned a little bit about the anatomy of a deer, right? And you learned a little bit about how, those things went. Anything else kind of surprising to you about that whole process?
Not really. I mean, it was, it had what you think it would, liver, kidneys, lungs, heart, intestines. I mean, it had the basic things.
Now, I will say you were lucky
that I didn't get a gut shot.
That because at the angle you shot him at, right? Because he's kind of a hard quartering too. It was almost a frontal, right?
Yeah.
Which with a gun, a bow is a little bit different story on a frontal bow with a gun. Okay. But you're lucky that bullet, didn't travel and start to nick some of the guts and stuff.
Oh yeah, that would have made it smell way worse.
And not because of damage to to the meat or something like that. And that's not saying exactly what you just said there, because of just the smell, right? And to be honest with you, once you've done it enough, it's
you
not
get used to it.
It's not as bad as what people make it out to be. Like your first couple times, okay, yeah, it could be a little overpowering, but not after you've done it a few times. All right, so take me from the next point. So you just got done gutting your animal. What do we do? What's the next thing we got to do?
Well, we gutted the animal, and then we went up, brought our stuff back up, and we made sure the blood was when we went down with the cart to drag it up the hill and then drag it back down. We made sure there wasn't any blood left in it. At least the majority of it was taken out before we put it in the back of the truck and left. But I mean, it was a pretty interesting process.
Pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah.
and the whole blood thing, that's kind of that's me helping my processor out, because I've dropped a couple off that it was by myself, I didn't have anyone to kind of help me kind of drain it the best I could. So there's a little bit of blood still left when we hung it up, and it kind of got on their floors and stuff. But
and then they cleaned it up.
Yeah, but this one we get you and I worked together and pretty much got most of it out of the cavity. So
yeah.
So tell me, are you excited for next year already?
Oh yeah.
Are you hooked?
I'm waiting for it.
You're ready to go back out again, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll get you out there. So, as a new hunter, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is your first successful hunt.
Yeah.
What are some things that you found were challenges for you, and some things that you think that you can work on to be better for next time?
Well, probably number one, staying awake. I fell asleep in the ground blind. I think just taking it a lot slower than what you would think.
What do you mean by that?
Like I don't know. I feel like when I was sitting in places, I'd be darting around, just kind of looking instead of just taking my time to observe what was actually happening in front of me. Instead, I was just kind of looking around and stuff, and then just continuing on. Like when we were leaving, I was sitting there, walking around, just kind of looking back and forth, but I wasn't, taking my time. I wasn't actually looking. I was just kind of moving my head.
Okay, that's fair points. And I to be honest with you, there's people like me that still fall asleep in those situations.
Yeah.
Like, it happens, right?
Mhm.
It's part of it, and some days when it's quiet and it's nice and cozy and, you just take a nap. But no, so don't beat yourself up too much on that. But that is a good point you make about just slowing down and taking it all in. Because a lot of people just rush to get to the next place where they're going to go.
Yeah.
And you miss a lot of stuff. And I tried to remind you a few times, like, hey, take a few steps, stop, look, and listen, right?
Yeah.
Take a few steps, stop, look, and listen. And there's more times than I can count that I have either walked up on or had deer walk up on me doing that exact same thing.
Yeah.
Now with the bow, it's a little bit of a different story. Like, it's not as easy of a task to successively harvest a deer with that type of hunting.
Yeah.
Now with a gun, though, it is.
Yeah.
And I've done that more times than not with a gun, right?
Yeah. Well, 'cause you're just walking there. You don't even got to, draw back or anything. You're sitting there ready. You got the whole thing loaded sometimes. Maybe
Right.
not. But even at that, if you need to get it loaded, it's just right there. Done.
Right. And it's ready to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good thing to kind of bring out. So what is your advice? So is that the only advice you have for a new hunter coming into it?
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else besides don't miss.
Don't miss, he says. So do you think you had enough time to practice before we went out?
Yeah, considering I've shot before, I feel like, it was enough for me to get back into it and make sure I was actually good to go shooting.
Okay.
I feel like I probably would have hit the deer anyways,
Right. So as your father and as your mentor in this, what are some things that I could have done better for you?
I think you did good. I think I liked, it was fun. It was good trails, good, I was glad that you were more strict around like the gun part because accidents happen. I like that you were, strict around, where I was aiming and stuff. Make sure I wasn't, holding the gun the wrong way or whatever.
Right. Well, all right. So I got an A+, huh?
Yep.
Are you just telling me that because I'm your dad?
No. I genuinely, I didn't get mad at you or anything out there. So.
Well, it's good. I didn't get mad at you either, to be honest with you,
even though I couldn't see.
Even though we had a few stern talks about a couple things, but no, all in all, listen, I couldn't have been more proud of you. You stuck through, and that was in a grand scheme of things, I'm gonna be honest with you, that was an easy hunt.
Yeah.
There's definitely been some more challenging ones out there. I've been on some more challenging ones, and I think you've at least sat on some of the challenging ones earlier in your life. But I got to be honest with you, I was like, since we're talking, I was starting to get a little nervous. I'm like, I don't know if he's ever going to come back. And I was beginning to wonder if it's something I had done. And I don't want to make this podcast about me, but I was wondering if it was something I had done that kind of turned you away from it. And then when you came up and said you were ready to go, like I wasn't going to let that opportunity go. And I'm like super happy that you decided you want to get back into it, because it's something that is very important to me. And I don't expect you to do the same things that I do, but it is something that I'm happy to, to share with you. And I'm happy that you want to actually be a part of it. So that was your first time, like actually going out to the processor too. Right. So what were your thoughts on that whole process?
I mean, it was cool. I like, they got it held down pretty good too. Bring up the deer, they hang it up, and they got a whole system going for it too.
Yeah. I've been going to them for years. It's Cunningham's, they're in New Rumley. Unfortunately, I think this is their last year. I don't know if I should say this because they kind of really slowed down. Like there's only a select, I don't want to say select few, but there's some regular customers that they still take deer from, but for the general public, they pretty much have stopped.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe if I want to throw them under the bus for this or not, but next year, I think this year is their very last year. Cause mostly it's their daughter now who's doing the processing, and she's graduated from high school. She's actually, I think she has a degree from college already, or she's finishing up a degree, and she's ready to, spread her wings and move on to the next chapter of her life. And the other, her dad runs 2 churches, and he does a lot of taxidermy. Her mom, helps out with what she can, and I think they're just ready to be done.
Yeah.
They've been great people, and I've enjoyed taking my deer out to them. They've always been very accommodating, and I don't look forward to trying to find the next person to fill that void, because they've become pretty good friends of mine. And over the years, because I've been going to them, I was still working at Yerkesville Police Department when I was going out to them, and I haven't been with Yerkesville for 9 years now, going on 9 years. So, anyways, buddy, I don't know how else to close this out, other than saying that I'm very, 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 very proud of you. I'm happy. I'm excited that you're jumping into the saddle to move on and get involved in the outdoors. And I look forward to go out and shooting some more with you. Try to get out, I shoot bow more than I do the guns. One, because it's cheaper, because I have to buy ammo all the time.
Yeah.
Arrows last as long as I don't break them or lose them. They last for multiple shots. Ammo, not so much, but get you out shooting a little bit more. And get you out there and maybe talk you into bow hunting at some point in time. But no, I'm happy to take you out with a gun. And actually, like I said, you kind of inspired me to want to go out with a gun too, because it's been a while since I've actually shot a deer with a gun that wasn't work related.
Yeah.
So I think I'm ready to go out and do it again. I went out today. I didn't see anything.
Well,
but it was raining today. I had to came straight home and cleaned and oiled the gun to keep it from rusting. So, all right. Well, before we close this out, is there anything you got to say in closing, my man?
No.
Nothing at all.
Nothing.
No other advice for new hunters?
No, they already got it.
They already got it. Any advice for people who want to be mentors to kind of help new hunters like you?
Don't be mean.
Don't be mean, right?
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that?
Like, just don't make it seem like you're pressed or anything, like you got a problem or something. Just make it, like, be calm with it. Don't push it.
Well, when we say don't push it, don't push. What do you mean?
Like, just don't. It's hard for me to get words to say for it, but don't seem like you're mad at them. Like if they have trouble seeing something or whatever, or like they just don't know. Just be kind of out there, be like, hey, don't do that, or hey, yo, look, there's something up there. What do you mean you don't see it?
Right? No, I get it.
Yeah.
So be kind, be nice, be patient, right? All
Yeah.
those things. I think also that I think most people should probably be doing anyways when it comes to mentoring. But I get it, and on the same sense, I can see as a mentor, like sometimes, like, you've been doing this for so long, you forget what it was like to be new at it, and that you're picking up on things that they don't know to pick up on yet, right? I will say I want to work with you on how to walk a little bit more quiet in the woods. Like outside of like, muzzle discipline, like the walking in the woods thing was the other thing I think that, that we can work on. Right. So as a mentor, I've already seen the things that you and I can work on together to improve your experience in the woods. Right.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, and I was trying not to get too frustrated by it, and hopefully I didn't come off as too frustrated. But like, I'm trying to, I'm trying. I was actually like overly trying to model what I wanted you to do, right? When I was walking. So I was like, trying to take my, stay as quiet as possible, and then all of a sudden, Leadfoot behind me. Where's all the deer? Probably 2 counties away now. I'm kidding. You weren't that bad, but I
like stepping on sticks.
But that's part of the process. You learn these things, and that gives me a blueprint of things to work with you in the future as we continue to hone in your skills, right?
Yeah.
Because there's only so much you're going to pick up on the first couple hunts, right?
Yeah.
I overload you. You're going to you don't want to be there anymore. Right? So you got to pick your battles. And I think we picked the right battles because obviously you succeeded, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. Any other kind words of advice?
Like you said, don't overload them, like, just don't sit there, if they mess up on anything or a lot of things, don't make it all one problem and one thing, try and, plan it out instead of, just dumping it all out on them.
Okay. All right. I don't have anything else. You got anything else you want to say?
Nope.
Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Is it something? I already know you're ready to go back next year.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to get you out with me today, but Daisy was calling your name.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I really do appreciate you guys spending it's been about an hour now. You and I have been talking for an hour. So ladies and gents, I am so happy and so pleased to spend that Khreston and I could spend the last hour with you, and that you sat through and listened to this. And I hope that you guys take away some things about taking your kids out of the woods for the first time, hearing it from the kids' perspective as well. Some things to watch out for, not to push on them. And also, just I hope you guys appreciate just the conversation we had. And I know that I'm very, and I've said it before again, I am very, very, very proud of you, my boy. What's that?
Me messing with your mic.
I know. I seen you messing with my cable. I am very proud of you. You did a great job. I think that shot placement was darn near perfect. Obviously. And, I couldn't have asked for a better result, and I couldn't ask for you, a better first hunt for you. And, I appreciate your eagerness to get out there. And I really, really look forward to, more great hunts with you. So with that being said, Khreston, that was you chasing the experience that you wanted, right?
Yeah.
And did you get all that you asked for?
Yeah.
And more?
Yeah.
All right. There it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. This is Sean Smith. Across from me is my son, Khreston. We are going to be signing off. Once again, I hope you guys stay safe out there as you are chasing the experience that you want. Don't let anybody shame you out of that experience. It is yours, not theirs. Don't be ashamed. Go out there and chase the experience that you want, as long as it's ethical and it's legal. And as always, until the next one, God bless you guys.